She wasn't supposed to see that. But there he was. Jayden had a girl pressed against the wall, his hand tangled in her hair, his lips moving like he didn't have a care in the world. Like hearts weren't things he broke for fun. And for a second, she couldn't breathe. Aisha stood frozen at the hallway corner, her fingers tightening around the strap of her bag as her chest rose and fell too fast. So this was what she was to him. Nothing. Just another secret. Just another stupid mistake. Jayden pulled away from the girl with that same careless smirk she had memorized, whispering something that made the girl laugh before she walked off, fixing her hair like nothing had happened. And then, his eyes lifted. Locked with hers. Everything went still. For the first time since she'd known him. Jayden didn't look amused. He looked caught. Aisha. She turned before he could say another word. Because if she stayed 1 second longer, she was going to cry. 3 months earlier, Aisha had just stepped out of the cab, dragging her suitcase behind her, already exhausted from the long trip back from university. Home. Finally, she pushed the gate open, stepping into the compound she hadn't seen in months, and immediately heard loud laughter echoing from inside the house. She smiled. Some things never changed. The moment she stepped into the living room, she saw her brother sprawled on the couch, controller in hand, and right beside him, Jayden. Of course. He was leaning back lazily, one arm draped over the couch, his attention on the screen until he noticed movement. His eyes flicked up. And stayed there. For a second too long. Aisha paused, suddenly aware of herself in a way she hadn't been before. What she said, raising a brow. You've never seen me before. Jayden blinked once, then smirked slowly. Not like this. Her brother groaned. Don't start, brother. Aisha rolled her eyes, dropping her bag. Start what? He's the one staring like he's confused. Jayden stood up then, stretching slightly, his gaze still on her. When did you get back? He asked. Just now. He nodded, stepping closer. Too close. You look different. Her heartbeat did something strange. I grew up, she said dryly. Jayden's smirk deepened. Yet. I can see that. Her brother tossed a cushion at him. Guy, behave yourself. Aisha laughed it off, but something about that moment lingered longer than it should have. At first, she didn't think much of it. Jayden had always been Jayden. Charming. Annoying. Flirtatious with anything that moved. It was normal. Or at least, it used to be. But over the next few days, something shifted. It started small. Little things. Like how he always seemed to show up whenever she was alone. In the kitchen. On the balcony. Even outside when she went to take calls. You're everywhere, she muttered one evening, leaning against the balcony railing. Jayden chuckled beside her. Or maybe you just notice me more now. She scoffed. Please, but she didn't move away. That was the problem. She didn't move away. One night, the power went out. The entire house fell into darkness, and her brother had gone out with friends, leaving her alone. Or so she thought. She had just lit a candle in the kitchen when she heard footsteps behind her. You're scared of the dark now? Jayden's voice came, low and teasing. She turned, her heart jumping before she could stop it. Don't sneak up on people like that. He leaned against the doorway, watching her in the flickering candlelight. I didn't sneak. You were just distracted. By what? His eyes dropped briefly to her lips. Then back up. You tell me. Her breath caught. There was something different in the air. Something heavy. Dangerous. Jayden, she said, trying to sound normal, what do you want? He pushed off the wall and walked toward her slowly. I wanted water, he said, opening the fridge. She let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Then take it and go. He grabbed a bottle, but instead of leaving, he stayed. Leaning against the counter. Watching her. Why do you avoid me? He asked suddenly. She frowned. I don't. You do. I don't, she insisted. He took a step closer. Then why do you always leave when I come around? Her pulse quickened. Maybe I just don't like you. Jayden laughed softly. You don't believe that. He was closer now. Close enough that she could feel the heat of him. Close enough that her thoughts started slipping. Step back, she said quietly. Or what? Her throat went dry. Or I will. But she didn't. And neither did he. That night changed everything. Because after that, avoiding him became impossible. And wanting him became inevitable. Days turned into a dangerous routine. Late-night conversations. Playful arguments that lasted too long. Moments where their hands brushed and neither pulled away fast enough. Aisha tried to convince herself it meant nothing. But her heart didn't listen. It reacted. Every time. You're playing a risky game, her brother said one afternoon, eyeing her as she scrolled through her phone. She looked up. What? He nodded toward Jayden, who was outside taking a call. Don't get too comfortable around him. Her stomach tightened. I'm not. He's not the type to settle down, her brother continued. You know that, right? She forced a shrug. Why are you telling me this? Because I know girls like you, he said bluntly. You think you can change guys like him? Aisha laughed, but it sounded hollow. I'm not interested in him. Her brother studied her for a second longer than she liked. Good, he said finally. Keep it that way. But it was already too late. Because that same night, everything crossed the line. She was on the balcony again, staring at nothing, trying to clear her head. Trying to breathe. Trying not to think about him. You always come here when you're overthinking. She didn't turn. Go away, Jayden, he stepped beside her anyway. Make me. She exhaled sharply. Why are you doing this? Doing what? This, she gestured between them. Whatever this is. He was quiet for a moment. Then. You feel it too. It wasn't a question. Her heart pounded. No, I don't. Liar. She turned then, finally meeting his eyes. Stop it, she said, her voice shaking slightly. You're my brother's best friend. And you don't do relationships, she snapped. You don't care about anyone but yourself. Something flickered in his eyes. Is that what you think? It's what I know. He stepped closer. Then why are you still here? She didn't answer. Because she didn't have one. He reached out then. Slowly. Gently. His fingers brushing hers. And this time, she didn't pull away. If I cross this line, he said quietly, there's no going back. Her chest tightened. Then don't. But her voice betrayed her. Because it didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like permission. And Jayden noticed. Of course he did. He always noticed. Say it again, he murmured, his voice low. Her breath hitched. Say what? My name. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Jayden. He closed his eyes for a second, like that did something to him. Something dangerous. When he opened them again, they weren't playful anymore. They were intense. Focused. On her. And then he leaned in. He shouldn't have done that. But he did. And she didn't stop him. The moment Jayden closed the distance between them, everything Aisha had been holding back snapped at once. Her thoughts blurred, her pulse roared in her ears, and for a second, the world shrank down to just him. His hand slid to her waist, steady but firm, like he was giving her time to pull away. She didn't. That was all the permission he needed. When his lips finally touched hers, it wasn't rushed or careless like she had imagined it would be. It was slow. Intentional. Like he was trying to memorize the moment instead of ruining it. And that scared her more than anything. Because Jayden didn't do slow things. He didn't do careful. He didn't do this. Her fingers gripped his shirt before she could stop herself, her body reacting faster than her mind could catch up. For a brief moment, she let herself feel it every dangerous second of it. Then reality hit. Hard. She pulled back suddenly, her breath uneven. This is wrong, she whispered, even though her voice lacked conviction. Jayden didn't move away. His forehead rested lightly against hers, his breathing just as unsteady. Then why didn't you stop me? She swallowed. I should have. But you didn't. Silence stretched between them, heavy and complicated. Aisha, he said quietly, look at me. She hesitated, then did. And that was her second mistake. Because the look in his eyes wasn't playful. It wasn't casual. It was something deeper. Something she wasn't ready to deal with. This can't happen, she said quickly, stepping back this time. You're my brother's best friend. And you keep saying that like it changes anything. It changes everything. She snapped. If he finds out. He won't. You don't know that. Jayden exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Then we don't let him find out. Her chest tightened. We. He held her gaze. Don't act like you didn't feel that. She didn't respond. Because denying it would be a lie. And they both knew it. That night should have been the end. It should have been the moment she drew a line and never crossed it again. But it wasn't. It was the beginning. The next day, they acted like nothing had happened. Or at least, they tried to. Aisha stayed in her room longer than usual, avoiding the living room, avoiding him. Avoiding the memory of how it felt. But avoidance didn't last long. It never did with Jayden. You're really going to ignore me? His voice came from her doorway, and she froze mid-step. I'm not ignoring you, she said without turning. I'm just busy. With what? She turned then, annoyed. Why do you care? He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, studying her. Because last night happened. Her heart skipped. Last night shouldn't have happened. But it did. And it was a mistake. Jayden pushed off the wall and stepped into her room, closing the door behind him. That didn't feel like a mistake. Her pulse quickened. You don't get to decide that. Then tell me I'm wrong, he challenged. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Because she couldn't. Because he wasn't. That's what I thought, he said softly. Jayden. I'm not playing games with you, he cut in. I don't chase girls. I don't do this whole back and forth thing. She folded her arms, trying to steady herself. Then stop. I can't. The honesty in his voice caught her off guard. Why, she asked before she could stop herself. He held her gaze. Because it's you. And just like that, her defenses cracked a little more. Nothing changes, she said quickly, almost like she was convincing herself. We can't let this go anywhere. Jayden tilted his head slightly. Too late for that. Her heart betrayed her again. Because deep down, she knew he was right. It started small. Again. Always small at first. A lingering look. A brush of hands when no one was watching. Texts late at night when everyone else was asleep. Are you awake? I shouldn't be talking to you. Then stop replying. You stop first. She never did. Days turned into a dangerous rhythm. And somewhere along the line, rules were broken. Your brother's in the shower, Jayden said one afternoon, his voice low as he stepped into the kitchen. Aisha glanced at him, already nervous. Okay. He moved closer. Too close. That means we have exactly 5 minutes. Her breath hitched. For what? He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Because the way his hand slid around her waist said everything. Jayden, she started, but her protest faded when he pulled her closer. You keep saying my name like you want me to stop, he murmured. But you never actually mean it. Her heart raced. This is risky. Everything about you is risky. And before she could argue again, he kissed her. Quick this time. Urgent. Like he knew time wasn't on their side. That became their normal. Stolen moments. Hidden touches. Secret smiles across the room when her brother wasn't looking. It was thrilling. Terrifying. Addictive. And the worst part, Aisha was falling hard. You're smiling at your phone too much these days, her brother said one evening, narrowing his eyes at her. She quickly locked her screen. Am I not allowed to be happy? Depends on what's making you happy. Her stomach twisted. You're overthinking. Am I? He glanced toward Jayden, who was pretending to focus on the TV. Then back at her. Just be careful, he said quietly. Her chest tightened. Because she wasn't being careful. Not even a little. Later that night, her phone buzzed. Come outside. Her heart immediately started racing. No. You're already coming. She stared at the message for a second, then sighed. Because he wasn't wrong. When she stepped outside, Jayden was already there, leaning against the car. Waiting. For her. You're becoming predictable, she said, trying to sound unaffected. He smirked. And you're becoming easier to read. She rolled her eyes, but her heart wasn't in it. Not when he looked at her like that. Not when everything between them felt like it was getting deeper. More dangerous. This has to stop, she said suddenly. Jayden's expression shifted slightly. Does it? Yes. Why? Because I'm starting to care, she admitted before she could stop herself. Silence. Heavy. Real. Jayden didn't joke this time. Didn't deflect. Didn't smirk. He just looked at her. And for the first time, she saw hesitation. That's exactly why it shouldn't stop, he said quietly. Her heart skipped. But something about his tone, it wasn't reassuring. It was complicated. And that's when she should have walked away. Before it got worse. Before feelings got deeper. Before everything fell apart. But she didn't. Because she had no idea, she was already in too deep. Aisha knew something was wrong before she even saw it. It was in the way Jayden had been acting all day. Distant. Quiet. Not texting her. Not looking at her the way he usually did. At first, she told herself she was overthinking. That she was imagining things. That this was exactly why she shouldn't have let herself get attached. But then night came, and everything she feared became real. She hadn't meant to go looking for him. She really hadn't. Her brother had sent her to grab his charger from Jayden's car, and she had gone without thinking twice, keys in hand, her mind elsewhere. But as she walked toward the gate, she heard laughter. A girl's laughter. Soft. Familiar. Too close. Her steps slowed. Her chest tightened. And then she saw them. Jayden. And another girl. He had her pinned lightly against the wall, his head bent close to hers as she smiled up at him like she had his full attention. Like she mattered. Like she was special. Aisha's stomach dropped. No. No, no, no. Not this. Not him. Not after everything. She told herself to walk away. To turn around and pretend she never saw it. But her feet refused to move. Because a part of her needed to see it clearly. Needed to confirm the truth she had been avoiding. Jayden leaned in closer. The girl laughed again, her hand resting comfortably on his chest. And that was it. That was all it took. Something inside Aisha cracked. She stepped back quickly, her breath shaky, her vision blurring slightly as she turned away before he could see her. Before he could explain. Before she could hear lies she didn't want to believe. Because now it all made sense. The distance. The silence. The change. She wasn't different. She was never different. By the time she got back inside, her hands were trembling. She dropped the charger on the table harder than necessary, ignoring her brother's confused look. "You good?" he asked. She forced a nod. "Yeah. Just tired." "Then go rest." She didn't argue. Because if she stayed any longer, she might break down right there. Her phone buzzed the moment she shut her door. She froze. Because she already knew who it was. "Jayden. Where are you?" Her chest tightened. "We need to talk." She let out a hollow laugh. Of course they did. About what she typed back, her fingers colder than she expected. There was a pause. Then. "Don't do that." Her jaw tightened. "Do what?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then. "Come outside." She stared at the message for a long moment. Her heart and her pride pulling her in two different directions. Then finally, she grabbed her jacket. When she stepped outside, he was already there. Waiting. Just like always. But this time felt different. He looked tense. Uncertain. And that alone made her angrier. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice sharper than usual. Jayden frowned slightly. "Why are you acting like that?" She let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "Seriously? Aisha. I saw you," she cut in. That was all it took. His expression changed instantly. Silence fell between them. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Real. "How long?" she asked quietly. Jayden ran a hand through his hair. "It's not what you think." "Don't," she snapped. Don't insult me like that. It wasn't serious. Her chest tightened painfully. Wow. I mean it, he continued, stepping closer. It didn't mean anything. That's supposed to make it better. It should, he said. Because what I have with you is different. She shook her head, taking a step back. You don't get it, do you? Then explain it to me. You don't get to have me and every other girl at the same time, she said, her voice trembling now. I'm not one of them. I know that. Then why act like I am? Jayden didn't answer immediately. And that silence, it hurt more than anything he could have said. I didn't think you cared this much, he admitted finally. Her breath caught. You didn't think I cared, she repeated, disbelief lacing her voice. I thought we were just what she demanded. He hesitated. And that hesitation said everything. Exactly, she whispered. She turned to leave, but his hand caught her wrist. Aisha, wait. Let go of me. Just listen. No, she said, pulling away. I'm done listening. For the first time since she'd known him, Jayden looked unsure. You knew who I was, he said, his voice lower now. She stopped. Slowly turned back. And you knew who I wasn't. That hit him. She saw it. I'm not built for this, she continued, her voice steadier now despite the tears threatening to fall. I'm not built to share someone I care about. I'm not asking you to. You already did, she cut in. The moment you chose to keep being, you. Silence. I can change, he said suddenly. Her heart betrayed her again. Because a part of her wanted to believe him. But she shook her head. No, you can't. You don't know that. I do, she said softly. Because if you could, you would have done it already. That landed harder than anything else. I'm not her, she added. I never will be. And I won't let you turn me into someone who accepts less than she deserves. Jayden stepped closer again, more cautious this time. What are you saying? Her throat tightened. But she forced the words out anyway. I'm saying this ends now. And just like that, everything between them shattered. He stared at her, like he was trying to figure out if she meant it. If she would actually walk away. She held his gaze. Even though it hurt. Even though it was killing her inside. Say something, he said quietly. She swallowed. Then. Goodbye, Jayden. And this time, she didn't look back. But the story wasn't over. Not even close. Because some endings have a way of coming back. The silence between them lasted 2 days. 2 long, suffocating days. Aisha thought walking away would make things easier. It didn't. It made everything louder. Her thoughts. Her emotions, the memories she couldn't escape no matter how hard she tried. Every corner of the house reminded her of him. The kitchen. The balcony. Even the living room where he sat like nothing in the world could touch him. Except now, he wasn't there. You've been quiet, her brother said one evening, watching her carefully. She forced a shrug. Just tired. You've been tired for 2 days. I said I'm fine. He didn't look convinced. And that made her nervous. Because if there was one thing her brother was good at, it was noticing when something was off. Where's Jayden? She asked casually, hoping to sound unaffected. Her brother frowned slightly. Haven't seen him much. Why? Her heart skipped. No reason. But the truth, she noticed his absence. more than she wanted to admit. Later that night, her phone buzzed. She stared at the screen. Jayden. We need to talk. Her chest tightened. Again. She didn't reply. Not this time. But Jayden wasn't the type to give up easily. The next evening, she found him waiting outside the gate. Leaning against his car. Just like before. Except this time, there was no smirk. No teasing. No confidence. Just tension. Aisha. Her name sounded different coming from him now. Softer. Heavier. I thought I made myself clear, she said, crossing her arms to hide how her hands were shaking. You did, he admitted. Then why are you here? Because I'm not okay with it. That's not my problem. He let out a breath, running a hand through his hair. You think this is easy for me? She let out a short laugh. Oh, please. I mean it, he said, his voice tightening. You think I've just been out there living my life like nothing happened? She didn't respond. Because a part of her wanted to believe him. I haven't been with anyone since that night, he continued. Her heart betrayed her again. But she forced her expression to stay neutral. That's supposed to impress me. No, he said. It's supposed to show you that I'm trying. Trying. That word lingered. Dangerously. You don't just get to try after hurting someone, she said quietly. I know that. Do you? Yes, he said firmly. And I hate that it took losing you to realize it. Silence. That hit deeper than she expected. I don't trust you, she admitted. I know. You say things like this now, but what happens later? I don't know, he said honestly. That caught her off guard. But I know I don't want to go back to how I was, he added. Not if it means losing you. Her chest tightened painfully. Because this was exactly what she had been afraid of. Him saying the right things. Making her feel again. Pulling her back in. You're scared, he said softly. She looked up at him. And you're not. I am, he admitted. But I'd rather be scared with you than be nothing without you. That was the moment everything shifted. Again. Before she could respond. A voice cut through the air. What the hell is going on here? Aisha froze. Her blood ran cold. Her brother stood a few feet away, his eyes moving between them, his expression darkening by the second. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Because there was nothing to say. I asked a question, he said, his voice sharper now. Aisha swallowed. I can explain. Explain what, he snapped. Why you're out here alone with him like this. His gaze shifted to Jayden. And you, he added, his tone colder. What are you doing with my sister? Jayden didn't look away. Didn't back down. I care about her, he said. The world stopped. Aisha's breath caught. Her brother's expression turned from confusion to anger. You what? I care about her, Jayden repeated, more firmly this time. Aisha's heart pounded wildly. This was exactly what she had feared. Her brother let out a disbelieving laugh. You've got to be joking. I'm not. You think I don't know you, her brother continued, stepping closer. You think I don't know how you are with girls. Jayden stayed quiet. Because he couldn't deny it. That's not who I am with her, he said finally. And I'm supposed to believe that, her brother snapped. Aisha stepped forward. Stop both of you. No, her brother said sharply. You stay out of this. I'm not a child, she shot back. This involves me. Exactly, he said. And that's why this needs to end. Silence. Her heart sank. You don't get to decide that, she said quietly. I'm your brother. I do. No, she said, shaking her head. You don't. That surprised him. What did you just say? I said you don't, she repeated, her voice stronger now. This is my life. And he's not good for you. Maybe not, she admitted. But that's my mistake to make. That hit hard. For both of them. Her brother looked at Jayden again. Then back at her. If he hurts you. He already did, she said softly. Silence. But he's trying, she added. Jayden's eyes snapped to hers. And that matters, she finished. Her brother exhaled slowly, clearly struggling. I don't trust him, he said. Then trust me, she replied. That landed. A long pause followed. Then finally, her brother stepped back. This doesn't mean I approve, he muttered. Aisha nodded. I know. And if you mess this up, he said, pointing at Jayden, we're done. Jayden didn't hesitate. I won't. Her brother scoffed slightly, then turned and walked away. Leaving them alone. Again. But this time, everything was out in the open. Aisha let out a shaky breath. That was, a lot. Jayden let out a quiet laugh. That's one way to put it. Silence settled between them. Different now. Honest. So, he said carefully, where does that leave us? She looked at him. Really looked at him. The boy she shouldn't have fallen for. The one who broke her heart. The one standing here, trying. I don't know, she admitted. That's fair. But if we do this, she continued, it's not a game. It never was for me, he said. She raised her brow slightly. You expect me to believe that? No, he said, I expect to prove it. That, she could respect. So she took a step closer. Not fully closing the distance. But not walking away either. Then prove it, she said quietly. And for the first time since all of this began, Jayden didn't smirk. He just nodded. And somehow, that meant more. Maybe this would work. Maybe it wouldn't. But one thing was certain. This wasn't over. Not even close. And maybe, that was the risk worth taking. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Hand pointing right, would you have stayed with Jayden, or walked away for good? Let me know what you think. And if you want more emotional, drama-filled stories like this, stay tuned. Because the next one might be even crazier.